Hello and welcome to round 5 of this season's Contest of Speed Tier 1 Championship. We're here bang on time for the stream. We ran a little bit late just because we were waiting for Raging Al to come through. But other than that, we are here. I'm your commentator for today, Lewis, aka Racer, and Perry is in the building as well. Welcome, Perry.
Uh, Thanks, Lewis. Should be a pretty interesting Bahrain race. Glad to see that Al got in. Usually is the cream of the crop for Tier 1, so I'm glad for his sake and for the rest of the field that he might be the one continuing to set the bar pretty high.
Yep, so he's been the man to beat. 4 wins out of 5 so far, with Fruitful winning the other race, the first race of the season. But it's going to be again. Fruitful didn't have a good quality in Russia. That's what cost him last week. He did a great recovery up into P2 and had Thomas as a good rear gunner. But he said he knew Al had the win already, so he didn't go and make any too silly risks. But I think Fruitful and Al, again, they are the guys to beat in race trim. So Harrison David, he's got some good pace, but for him it's just been a case of keeping on the island, and he has not done much practice if at all for this race. So
And we also have Nolan and the another Williams, so found a teammate for Raikkonen. And don't know much about Nolan other than I've been in a few open lobbies with him and he's been quite quick. I think he's pretty big on the esports scene, so we'll see how he does up here in Tier 1. I believe this is his first race in Contest of Speed, so I think it's worth pointing that out as we start.
absolutely. Of course, you said before we went on stream, Nolan is here. So, and someone who's not here is Simply Rush. He's just left the session. So that's just an internet issue. Also, guys, if you can't hear the noise, it's just a typical glitch. Trying to get it. We have a little I can do with the pause and coming out, but we haven't got sound for the engine noise anyway for the stream for me. But I'm sure hopefully it should, like in previous instances, come back for the race now. So we'll see what their first times will be. Also, interestingly, a lot of people are on the soft. So is that an indication that is it going to be raining at all in the race?
I don't know. I mean, it's very odd to see rain here in a dynamic race. Although, you never know. But I think that just because there's a few guys out on hards, I think that should mean. I mean, I think people will try to do the soft to hard strategy. I have yet to get any message from any of these guys talking about the weather yet. So
Yeah, as Alp gets a little bit of a moment, Nolan on hards to 127.9. Pretty good going on the hards. But yeah, Alp. So Harrison's on the coming up towards the lap now to his first lap time. He's going to stop. He does a very slow lap, and then Javi goes into provisional pole on those softs. But here comes Harrison now, and he invalidated. He did a 127 dead, but it doesn't count. Not only 5 are lap time. Most of the other guys are only just starting their own flying laps. So you've got a few people who didn't go out straight away, and still got a couple of people in the pits, Matrix and Simply a Rush.
as already, I think, a good lap for Javi just to start things out. See,
Yeah, I can you hear me now?
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I've just done a swap. Apologies, guys. I've just done a swap of the old controller, just to make sure it works. I noticed there was something going wrong, so and I got a message through. So hopefully it should be okay.
That sounds a lot better. Raikkonen, in the meantime, goes P1 with a 126.7. That's a fairly decent quick lap midway through the session, and I know Raikkonen carries a lot of speed, but has seems to have had an incident before we got to turn two at Russia, and that was him and Harrison, and so I think Raikkonen on his way to potentially another great starting spot with that lap.
Yeah, it's been a very good lap, 126.7. Yeah, so we've got Javi, Ginger, those three guys on the softs. Everyone else, well, from 4th to 8th are on the hard tyre. And then Carlsbury, Big Slater doing slow laps on the softs. And Thomas as well, done a very slow lap, 135 dead. So whether that was just a complete made an error and backed out of it and doing another lap. Yep, I think Harrison David, he's gone back into the pits to do another run shortly. But yellow's in sector 2 and 3. But yeah, Thomas is down in P11. He's not going for another lap now, so he's going to go back into the pits.
I think that it's worth noting that the people that have run a lap on hards, they had to choose the harder set of tires. So I would assume that all of those guys would probably qualify on mediums and then try the one-stop medium to hard strategy.
Yep. So yeah, the medium to hard strategy is the safest option. A lot of guys, I think, have run out of fuel. Raikkonen has run out of fuel, unless that's just him deliberately being slow. I doubt. I'd be surprised if he
No, I
was.
think he's out of fuel.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but yeah, the medium to hard is it's easy to do. In theory, therefore, should be there. If it's not, I mean, the key is, especially with these guys, they could get away with it. Being on the soft tire, starting that race on the soft tire, you obviously get that advantage, and then track position. Um, so that if you're able to extend to laps 9, 10, you'll be able to last on the hards, albeit the hards will be very much worn. Um, so that's the sort of play you do with it. The question is how many people will qualify on softs and how many will go to medium. I got the impression that a lot of these guys who have done times on the hards are now going to wait and do a medium run towards the end.
Yeah, that's probably, I think, the best strategy. The way Tier 2 played out, obviously the people who started on mediums and went to hards, even though some of them started in the back, like P8, P9, P10, ended up beating out a lot of people like myself on the two-stop. So, again, we talked about the soft to hard strategy is very risky, but I think it's possible. I think it's something that I could have probably tried in Tier 2, but the only difference is that I noticed with the softs as well, if you push really hard the opening 4 laps, it's almost impossible to get them deep enough to go lap 8 and still be consistent. But if you can manage them early, the first 3, 4, or 5 laps, you can basically keep them on pace with the mediums through about 8 laps.
Yeah, and it's that sort of strategy. I mean, I think Varamir had wing damage like I did yesterday, but he was just so quick. He was so quick around here. He was able to. I did the same thing. I went for two stop, thinking, well, having this wing damage is going to cost me too much time to be able to go further. But yeah, he did. He carried on with the one-stop strategy, and when he was even with the wing change, he still was able to finish in P2. So yeah, obviously he was an exception because of how much pace he had. But the one-stop generally is anyway, I think, the way to go around here. Raikkonen is on his out lap. Just trying to see who else is on hot laps. Nolan is on a hot lap, and again he's on his same set of hard tyres. So he's just doing it for getting another run, and he's 2 tenths up on his previous best. So 2 tenths would get him up into P3, unbelievably, and would be a mega lap on the hards. So I think we got a good battle on our hands for the race.
He had a pretty big slide in the penultimate corner. I don't know how much time it actually cost him on the hards.
Well, he's going
It
for
comes
it.
across.
Still
It
improvement.
does. Yep.
Yeah, so obviously he felt, obviously you could see with his delta time, otherwise he would have probably aborted that lap. But a good time, 1:27.7, and to be honest, he probably would be able to, even with that pace, lap time, he'd probably be able to still be in the top 10. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it depends really, what the midfield does with mediums coming up in the next moment. I'm pretty sure Fruitful just continues to run more and more laps on the hards, so I don't know whether I'm assuming, yeah, we'll see mediums for most of those guys. It's also worth noting that Javi, on his time, is still the fastest lap is with the soft, so because he went out on the mediums and then ran wide a couple times looking at his lap.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, going on the soft tyre, he sort of I find it's really tricky to go from soft to hard. It's much easier, obviously, going hard to soft, which I don't think is the best strategy. But yeah, the fact a lot of these guys have gone on hards, I'd be very surprised if anyone else, if any of these guys stuck to the hard tyre. I think all these will be now going to do their main runs on the medium. But however, this is the thing, when we have these situations in quali, it puts a lot of pressure on that one lap. It's very much the old school qualifying style of when it used to be you just did one quali lap per driver, and that's it. Yeah, it's like that with this, because you only have one medium tyre. You just got one chance to really make a difference. Whilst in the other races where you can get away with a soft tyre, you've got that three set of soft tyres to get a good lap in.
Currently, I'm riding on board with Alpa Mutke. Oh, he just, I think his laps through, and now second to last corner, been running wide. That's one thing I've noticed is a lot of these guys pushing hard, but then running out wide in the second and third sectors. You've got that double left-hander, middle of the second sector that's really easy to overshoot. And Alp doesn't prove to do a 128.1, but I know he's definitely capable to do a lot better, but he's already done that lap on his mediums, so his one shot there on those tires, not the best of starts.
Yeah, like you said, that double left-hander, particularly when tyres are worn or when the cars are heavy at the beginning of the race, so easy to just break that little bit. If you just break that a little bit later, or sometimes even the same, because the tyres are a little bit worn or the way you're approaching that turn, because you're braking while turning, it makes the inside part of the car very light. A lot of the weight is transferred to the outer part, which means you're not getting the full efficiency of your braking. Very easy to lock up that inside wheel. So it's, and even if you have ABS, it's what happens is you just end up braking. You're not able to slow down quick enough, and then you understeer off the track. That area, and also blank corner, blank curve. We can't forget about that. When the tyres, particularly soft tyres, when they start to wear on those rears, that's very easy to have a bit of fun, a bit of the rear end coming out on you. So it's a tricky track for those instances when the car is at its worst. When it's quali, I find it's a much easier proposition, this circuit, but particularly at the
Yep.
beginning, I think first corner is it always tends to cause mishaps because of the fact how tight it is. you go from really fast to a real slow corner where everyone's together. I think I'll be very surprised
Oh,
there's no wing damage. Or what's happened?
I've been on board with Javi, who's set a lap on softs at 127.5, and I think he lost it right around the blanks curve in the mediums. He's trying to improve on a 127.5 in the mediums, so I don't think he's going to end up doing it, however, and I would not be shocked to see him just in the pits. He might be. I think he's going to try to give the slipstream down the front stretch now for his teammate Simply on the hard tires, and this is Simply's first lap he'll try to set.
Nicely
I
done.
think go 3 wide going into turn 1, but yeah, that's Simply will need some of that boost on the straight on the hard tires, and I find it really interesting is will he even crack the top 10 on this strategy?
Yeah, because it has Simply as what tyres has he got? Simply's on hard tyres at the moment, so Simply's doing his quali run. He's decided he's gonna obviously not have the pace to be in the top 10, so he's going to stick with the hard tyre with, anyway to make sure that he's outside the top 10, which means he would have a fresh set of tyres to choose from. So interesting strategy, but it almost certainly
Oh,
leads to the back.
I hate to say this, but Nolan's trying to either get back around or do something, but he just completely cut the track. I don't think he's really trying to get back around, but I think he just cut the track maybe to stay out of somebody's way or something.
Right, I didn't catch that, but he is on his. Oh, he's not on an outlap, is he? Is he
Now
on
he
out?
was on his fast lap, but I think he's already aborted it. But I don't know if he's just returned to the pits or not. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah, because obviously this. Well, the way it's going, is he going to do another lap, or is he going to stay on the hard? Well, at the moment, he's going to have to start on those 2 lap old hard tyres, which is probably not the strategy he'll want to do, but he has the pace anyway. Um, but it will be interesting to see. I think he's going to go for another run. He's going for it. Yep, he is. So Nolan will go for another run. Meanwhile, Al is midway through. Oh, Al, he's also had to back out of his run. And this is the thing: when you only have 1 lap.
He's already done his lap. He's already done his lap on
Oh, sorry.
medium, so that was a medium lap. Yeah,
Right.
I'm on looking at Mitch right now.
Oh, Javi's retired. And yeah, sector 3, so that could be blank curve.
Depending on how the rest of the field does, I know Fruitful's down in P10 once again. His one shot. Mitch will be getting done, I believe, ahead of quite a few guys. So once he crosses, we'll definitely flip around to see where the rest of the right now middle and back half of the field comes around.
Yeah. Mitch is 8 tenths up on his previous best as Al gets out of the way for him on the last turn. It's all neat and tidy for Mitch. He's coming up towards the start line. Here we go. What lap time will it be? 128 dead. That's a good improvement for him. P6. Who else should we look for? Fruitful. Where is he? Fruitful is on the back straight. Fruitful's 3 tenths up on his previous so far.
We got Carlsberg coming around the final corner on mediums. And he will edge out Mitch for P5. Actually, hop Jinja Ninja for a moment. Jinja does get P4, however. And Matrix hops up to P3.
Wow.
And Nolan P2. Wow, some crazy times coming in just as they get across.
Here comes Fruitful, though. He's coming out of the final corner. This is crucial for him. He needs a good
Out
start.
P4.
Fruitful's crossed the line, and it's a P4.
P4.
Wow.
So he's right with Nolan and Al on the mediums up front.
Yeah. Impressive pace. Raikkonen choosing to do his soft tyre, so he's going to most probably... I mean, he'll try and do... Well, Raikkonen, obviously last season, was one of... It was him and Dougie that ended up with punctures right at the end of the race. Going into the final turn because they had worn tyres. I wonder whether Raikkonen will try that strategy again, which he'll probably have to have any chance of winning this race or having a good result, because the 2-stop just isn't as good. So I don't think we're waiting for anyone else now because Harrison is in the pits. So I think that is our top That is our order. As the sound of the engines come back to me, as expected.
So the intriguing start is going to be how well Raikkonen does if he can be able to manage a gap, because he's going to have Nolan, Al, and Fruitful, P2, 3, and 4, all in the mediums. Then you've got the soft runners with Alp and Mutke, P5, Matrix, P6, Javi, 7th, Ginger Ninja, 8th, and then Carlsberry, 9th, and Big Slater, 10th on mediums. Mitch, Thomas, Harrison, and Simply, and Jamie all have their choice of tires 11th through 15th.
Yeah, Mitch is in the prime spot with that P11. He can get a fresh set of mediums, or hards, or softs, but most people, I would have thought, outside that top 10 will go for a medium. Maybe one of them will try the hards, or maybe a couple. We'll see very shortly. But yeah, it's looking to be a very interesting race. And that's the thing with the different compounds. It can spice up the starts. I'm expecting Raikkonen to get a good getaway, but very quickly. The fact he's only a 10th clear, I'm expecting the guys behind him to be able to get past him within a couple of laps.
I think, looking at the Ferrari, where Thomas is starting that far in the back, P12, I would almost be intrigued to see Thomas try and maybe start on the hards, because we'll have Fruitful on the mediums. So maybe Ferrari going for an alternate strategy to get, if they do get a safety car at the right time, Thomas could get a free pit stop.
Yeah, that's a good point you put across, Perry, because obviously, yeah, you have the potential of a safety car, but yeah, if because obviously if they stick with the medium, I suppose Thomas would have a fresh medium, so he would be pitting later. So it shouldn't be the issue of double stacking. But however, because Thomas is that far behind, I think he will stick with the medium. But the hard would have been a potential tyre to go for, just because of how far back he is, and at least then he could definitely go on the soft. So let's see what tyres they've gone for at the back. Tyre. So yeah, Thomas does go for the hard. So Thomas, Harrison, and Jamie are the ones who have done the hard, gone onto the hard tyre. Mitch and Simply stick to fresh set of mediums. So we've got Williams 1-2. Williams front row, we haven't seen that since the early noughties, 2002 probably, 2001 was the last time we had, 2003 sorry, was the last time we had an all Williams front row.
I'm not going to have one till probably 2023 at the earliest.
You never know, it might be the new rules, they might do a brawn. But, yeah. So you got Raikkonen on pole, Nolan P2, Altakir in Alan Fruitful 3rd and 4th. That's going to be tasty at the start. Alp and Matrix has done a really good job, really improving with that wheel. He's improved leaps and bounds.
That's right, and Bahrain is a wheel track for sure. So if racing against other guys who may have the same skill as Matrix but are on the pad, I think the advantage is probably towards Matrix, just being on the wheel.
The two Williams guys are side by side of each other as if they're going to do a rolling start, the American style. And in fact, Nolan briefly got ahead of Raikkonen there. Just looking at the guys at the back. And you have got Thomas, Thomas will desperately want to be warming up these tyres. Obviously the harder compounds are harder to keep the temperature in and to gain temperature in, and having a really slow last corner here, but they're also going to struggle to get off the line, but they're at the back, so it's not quite the same issue as starting towards the front. But expect Alp, Matrix, Javi and Ginger Ninja on the soft tyre to have good starts, so they may cause Fruitful and Al some issues. I don't think they'll cause the front row guys any problems, but expect Raikkonen to get a good start on those softs.
I think, Alp really struggles with starts, so we'll see how it goes, as these camera angles are pretty bad. Ready to go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And off we go for Tier 1. Nolan gets a beautiful start. Raikkonen might have had the lights hold on his screen. He's back to P2 already. Al looking right behind Raikkonen. Going to drive a chance to the inside of Raikkonen, and he makes the move stick through turn 1. Runs Raikkonen wide, and Fruitful through to P3. So just like that, the pole sitter on the soft tires goes from first to fourth at the start. And now Javi making a move down the inside of Raikkonen. Raikkonen kind of shuts the door, and now Javi's under attack from Alp around the outside. Alp tucks back into P6. Meanwhile, though, just a beautiful start from second through fourth, and now the medium tire runners are going to set the pace.
Yeah, Raikkonen, I was watching Raikkonen, it was like either the lights didn't go for him, or he was just late on releasing the clutch pedal, because he just was a good couple of attempts longer, and it cost him dearly in the end. So the Mercedes of Harrison's battling it out with Big Slater, and it's got ahead of him. So Harrison up into P9. So good scrap. So I don't think anyone got any wing damage. So
all extremely clean.
Yeah, which cannot have been said in previous races. Oh, we got yellow sector 3.
That's Matrix.
Sorry, it is Matrix. Oh, what a shame, he's got wing damage as well.
I think he might have lost it on his own there. I didn't get a good glimpse on it. As Nolan obviously goes fastest, leading lap 1. And is already starting to gap Al at 9/10 of a second. And Matrix now really in trouble, although he did start on the softs, but might be able to throw on the mediums or probably the hards at this point. Yeah,
I would probably go hards and then go to softs at the end of the race, unless you wanted to go medium. Maybe that'd be another way. Maybe medium might be the better strategy, but for Matrix, unless it's a safety car, that's his chance. It's a real shame. Again, another promising quali that has come to, well, at the moment, looks like it's coming to nothing. Just having a look at the battles around the field. The midfield are pretty close.
Yeah, midfield's awfully close. Carlsberry's up to P6. Alps dropped 2 spots. Harrison's up quite a few spots now. And he's on hard tires, so I mean, you know, as much ground as he's made up on that harder compound is incredible, considering the hards are just ice cold at the very start.
Yeah, it's very true. I think Raikkonen just had an issue of not warming up his tyres enough as well. Obviously, he didn't get a great start, but the first lap he was sort of picked off one by one. But this lap he has responded, and with the short time frame he's got with this advantage, he is starting to catch Fruitful up again. But catching is one thing, but with those soft tyres, overtaking is going to be a whole nother story. I just can't see it.
Yeah, and Fruitful they're gonna get DRS as they head to what's now the second DRS. Used to not be there, but I believe DRS should be open. Yeah, it is. But Fruitful will get DRS on Al. So I mean, for the moment, it doesn't look like Raikkonen's gonna be able to get by.
Yeah, got a bit of a DRS train in the midfield. But yeah, the 3 hard, I mean, apart from Harrison's got some serious pace, because the other hard runners are all 13th, 14th, 15th. Thomas, Jamie, and obviously Matrix has just only got on the hard. But Thomas and Jamie didn't get the starts and don't show the same pace that Harrison's got. So Harrison's got some real good pace. He's 7/10 behind Alp, and is keeping Big Slater behind him.
Yeah, Harrison right now catching Alp, and I think Alp really spent his softs in qualifying. That's why he's kind of lost 2 spots since that point, and I think Harrison now going to be attacking Alp as we start the 4th lap in just a moment.
Yeah, he's not in DRS, so here we go. So we've got DRS now. Can Fruitful? He's not close enough to... Oh, in fact, he's got quite a bit of straight line speed over Al. Al must be in no ERS whatsoever. Oh, Al.
Looking back, Harrison going around the outside of Alp into turn 1.
Oh, bit of contact.
Alp defends it pretty well. Still side by side. Harrison has to cut the corner a little bit. and Alp ends up getting the DRS, so he must have been just in front of Harrison. Harrison's still going to look for a move to the outside, maybe try to switch back, and Harrison locked up a little bit. Alp runs pretty wide, and Harrison will dive down the inside. Will they both make it through this corner? I know Alp really had to get on the curb there and back out of it, and that time Harrison, the aggressive one at that time, keeps the position, although Alp will have DRS in just a moment. Depends how good of an exit he can get on those old soft tires down the backstretch.
Harrison went a bit deep. He missed the apex. He's gonna have to defend heavily now to Alp. And look at this train. He does the job.
Will not. Alp will just hold back. Meanwhile, Nolan's just pulling away from Al, who, I don't know if he's struggling on the mediums or what, but Fruitful is right on his tail along with Raikkonen. Maybe Al just trying to manage these, but Nolan's really running away with it.
Right, let's watch this train in the background. Harrison, Al, Big Slater, Ginger Ninja, they're all nose to tail. Anyone going to make moves? I think that Ginger Ninja's going to make a move on the inside, is he?
Oh, Big Slater runs into the back of Alp. I think he got away with it with no wing damage.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no wing damage. But Alp is having to defend, and he's got no straight line speed, Alp. He's going to be, again, defending on the inside.
Oh, Ginger Ninja with a little bit of a dive on Big Slater. He left the door open.
Oh, Ginger Ninja's trying to squeeze through. Oh, what a move if he can hold it.
Slater's pretty generous there. I think Ginger Ninja was going to try it anyways, but Slater really left the door open twice.
And of course those guys are on softs as well, and then the Renault's having a little look as well. Simply Rush. But yeah, fair play, Ginger Ninja on those softs, still going strong. But around lap 6, 7, we're expecting these soft guys to start falling off. Oh, and the Haas is not happy. Big Slater's struggling and ran wide and simply rushes down the inside of him. And Mitch has got a grandstand view of this battle as Simply Rush makes the move stick before turn 1. I think Big Slater let him through. And Big Slater looks like he's going in the pits, so maybe he did get wing damage.
Maybe he did get wing damage, yeah. There wasn't anything when we looked outside of his view that he lost anything, but again, sometimes this game, you know, you get a glitch and you don't see the wing damage when it's there, so.
Oh, and Simply's making a move on Alp, was it? Yeah, he is. Alp's tyres are gone. But Ginger Ninja, he's still going strong.
Javi's really holding up Carlsberg for P5 as well.
Yeah, there's a big gap between Javi and Raikkonen now, 4.3 seconds. So, yeah, those guys aren't having the, well, Javi and Alp, I think, are the two guys really struggling with their softs. Whilst Raikkonen, Ginger, tend to be alright at the moment. But we're getting to that crucial point now where the softs are going to start to give up. Even for these guys who have done well so far, Ginger and Raikkonen. Oh,
I think Alp just, yeah, he runs deep there, and he just keeps, I think, trying to over push the softs, and they're just not there anymore. Now Simply will have the run on him and take the spot for P9, headed towards the start-finish straight. Alp loses the back end a bit.
Now, will the Renault still get DRS? Yes, he does. So, as Javi pits on laps at the end of lap 6, as a look down the inside on the Renault's going to sort of give him room, but Mitch is going to try and go on the outside here. This could be a great move by Mitch. Fair play, both of them side by side, and they both have DRS. Mitch is going to go to the outside, and he's going to plan on doing the switchback. The soft tyre is surely going to struggle to get the traction. And they do. Mitch is there.
Javi's committed to the 2-stop. Oh, Alp defends on the outside. I think Mitch generous to leave Alp that much space.
Oh, Alp gets a real moment on the back end. Yeah, Mitch has got to get past him. It's crucial for his race to stay with the two guys up ahead of him. And he's got Thomas now challenging him on tyres, which are only going to get better. But yes, as I said, Javi going on to the medium tyre. That is obviously his choice, his decision to go for the two-stop, which is right, because he wouldn't make the hards last from lap 7. So, yeah, two-stop for Javi. And I think Alp will probably have to pit as well now, because he is way off the pace. Oh, Mitch is trying to go around the outside of him. He has to be careful. Now, is Alp going to go to the pits? No, he doesn't. He goes out. He stays out again, and he's already lost 2.3 seconds. Meanwhile,
Simply's going ahead. P7 down the inside of turn 1, and Jinja can't really do much to defend that. His tires are toast.
Yeah.
Guys, Al and Fruitful. Fruitful tried to move at the end of the second straight, and Al defends it well. So. Fruitful getting a little bit impatient behind Al, and this has allowed Raikkonen to stay within DRS, which is good for Raikkonen, knowing that if he can pull off the one-stop soft to hard, I think that being able to stay with the top, the medium runners at least until he pits is huge.
Yeah, it's really good result so far. Raikkonen's done a brilliant job on keeping those softs alive. But he's now creeped out. He's almost outside that 1 second mark now, which will be crucial for him as Thomas is lining up a move on Alp, which he does with the DRS out of the back straight. So Thomas is now into the points on those hards. And Harrison is caught up Carlsbury. He's only a second behind Carlsbury now. So Harrison, look out for him at the end of this race.
Raikkonen's in.
And Fruitful is...
Very cautious into the pits.
Fruitful and Al are battling it out, all side by side. Al defended very early on.
Now Fruitful should have a better run up the hill.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a brilliant exit and with DRS.
He doesn't use his DRS though. Al gets the DRS, so he must have been ahead of him, and he's going to surely just squeeze him off the road here. So that's what cost Fruitful in the end. Al had the DRS. I don't think we've seen any penalties yet either, so...
I will say that the penalty system at Bahrain now is very generous. So Alp's put on the hards and Raikkonen's put on the hards, so they'll be good to go for the end if they can make the hards last. They should be able to, I think, barring any major mistakes, but it'll depend on
it'll be
how
very
hard they
close.
push. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be close. Those tyres will be toast by the end. So I'm expecting those guys towards the end of the race to be under threat from the guys who are on mediums right now, who are behind him. But yeah, the battle at the moment really is between Al and Fruitful, but also Carlsbury and Harrison. Harrison's all over the back of Carlsbury now. So even the mediums are now starting to lose their best, and the hards are still keeping pretty good pace right now. As Fruitful again is having a look down the inside. No, not this time. And Harrison and Carlsbury, same thing again. Carlsbury goes round, tries to defend the inside. Harrison runs deep.
Locks off, so Fruitful this time a little bit more patient, just sits on the P3. Carlsbury gets the DRS and we'll keep P4. Harrison's really starting to lock up, and that's one of the troubles is, especially with the hard tires, once you lock up once and really overcook him is...
Oh, Jamie's retired.
Jamie's retired.
That must be the exit of turn 1. That's a weird one. Trying to see it on the TV broadcast. Yeah, he's lost it. Oh, he must have lost the rear end coming out of turn 1 and turn 2. And went into the wall. So on those hards, disaster. Jamie was near the back of the grid anyway, and Matrix as well. He is retired. So both Matrix and Jamie are out of this race.
What in the world's going on in the chat?
And Harrison's got past Carlsbury. So that must have been maybe done, well, must have done on the back straight. But Harrison is now up to P4 and is yellow in sector 2.
Oh, they continue the battle. Al takes P2 back. Fruitful with the DRS though. Looks to the outside, tries to dummy out to the inside. Al stays inside. Oh, and now we'll do the switchback, or at least attempt it. Fruitful battling for P2. Looks to the inside, but backs out.
He is smart with his defending Al. I'll give him that. He knows where to place that car. Yeah, once again, these two are battling out. Nolan, though, 5.8 seconds clear.
Yeah, he is checked out. Nolan has checked out. He's clearly, I think, the fastest runner on the medium. Ninja has retired. I think he did it into the pits.
That's a weird one because he was doing well. Obviously, so maybe had him. Oh, yeah, maybe he has retired in the pits because his car's put inters on.
Al picks up a penalty.
Oh, so that'll be crucial. Now Fruitful is. Oh, Fruitful's pitting. So Fruitful goes in the pits on lap 12, which is, to be fair, the right time. I know a lot of these guys, the pit window will be for the end of this lap. So Fruitful is trying to do the undercut, which should pay off as long as he gets clear traffic, which I think he will. Will he get ahead of Raikkonen still? Raikkonen is coming out of the pit exit now. Yeah, he does get ahead of Raikkonen. That's crucial for Fruitful. He gets a clean air and ahead of Raikkonen for track position.
Now he's weaving just to try to get those tires up to temperature. But yeah, huge that he's in clean air now and can push and undercut out. Potentially should be able to, the way the undercut works around here. Meanwhile, I think it's interesting how Thomas on the hards, he's only now closing in on Mitch, like a second and a half behind Mitch. I think there's a chance if he can hop on the mediums, do the overcut, and maybe even race his way up to, P5 or 4 at the very best. So.
Yeah, this is what I love. Yeah, it's the different tyre strategies. This game, that it all comes to fruition. Oh, here we go.
Al is going to be in.
Yeah, surely. It all comes towards the end. We find who did the best strategy. But here we go then. Al in the pits, getting a fresh set of hards. Harrison's going to get past, so he's going to inherit the lead, but is yet to stop.
The rest of the medium guys are in. Carl's very simply as well.
Yeah, and the Ferrari. Here we go. The guys are on the main straight. Nolan is going to get ahead of Thomas. But where is Al? Al is coming out now. It's going to be very close. I think Al might just have it here. He's going to try and squeeze Fruitful out, but he should have DRS.
Fruitful has to make the move here, I think, before Al gets his tires up to temperature.
He's not quite close enough though. So that's crucial for Al. He was able to do just enough to stay ahead. It was shades of Schumacher Alonso 2006 when Alonso got the undercut on Schumacher, and Al has done it again. So it's going to have to be a battle on track. Fruitful's going to have to overtake him on track to get the job done.
We've also got Raikkonen still in DRS of Fruitful, so.
Yeah, Raikkonen with only essentially his 3 lap older tyres than Fruitful, but 4 laps older than Al's tyres. So towards the end of the race, I'm expecting the second half of this stint where Raikkonen's going to slowly lose out, I think, to these guys. But for now, he's in the prime seat. and able to take advantage of anything that occurs ahead of him. And here we go, Fruitful's got a good run here. But again, doesn't use a slipstream. Oh, and Raikkonen's having a little look. Oh no, he makes contact with Fruitful! Oh no!
Fruitful loses front wing. I think Raikkonen might have as well.
Oh, drama.
I think
Yes,
Fruitful is going to try for the cutback, and Raikkonen stuck his nose in, and now Raikkonen's run into the back of Fruitful and lost more front wing. And this is going to cost... Man, I think they're going to have to come in and pit again, and I think this is going to cost Fruitful and Raikkonen not only podiums, but potentially, a double, top 5, maybe even top 7.
Well, and this is the problem at this lap. If they pit now, they'll struggle to get the mediums to last. So, horrible time. I guess you could just about make the mediums, but they will be wrecked by the time you get to the end of the race. If you pit now, so I guess Fruitful, that wing damage looks pretty bad on.
Raikkonen's is pretty rough. I think Raikkonen's might be a little bit worse.
Yeah, Raikkonen's got red, I think, on that side.
So, and now Thomas is going to be under attack from Al, and this would have been the time when Fruitful could have used Thomas as, a teammate to help block Al. As Fruitful's going to stay out, he doesn't really have much of a choice.
He's got
and Raikkonen's going to come in. So Fruitful's just going to be trying to hold on to what points he has now, and Raikkonen, I mean, he's going to have to push the mediums, I think.
Yeah, the thing is, even if he's going for the mediums, but that's going to be a struggle. I think with still 15 laps to go. I know the cars are lighter, but yeah, those mediums are going to be near the end. That's the problem with having that damage. If it was a couple of laps later, that'd be a proper strategy. But yeah, he's going to really struggle to make it on those tyres. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pits towards the end just to nick fastest lap off the top 10.
I mean, that was a difficult accident to watch. I mean, I know what Fruitful was trying to do, but I don't think he knew that Raikkonen was looking into the inside right there and just kind of came down on Raikkonen. And Raikkonen, I don't think was going to be able to make the move, but I think was just trying to stick his nose in there to see, maybe what would happen, have a peek, as Al's having a peek with Thomas right now.
Yeah, and Harrison is pitted, so the last guy to not pit has finally done so. Yeah, my thing is with that, the thing, if two guys are battling ahead of you in a corner like that, which is a tight hairpin, they're focusing on each other, and I think Raikkonen shouldn't have stuck his nose. Maybe he was forced to because of both sides of the track was shut. It was one of those racing incidents where he couldn't go to the outside because Al was there. Fruitful was there, and Al was on the inside, but a bit further ahead. So he sort of must have braked it a little bit too late, and then tried to go to the inside to avoid Fruitful. But then Fruitful took the apex to try and get a good run for the next DRS zone, and they made contact. It's a clumsy-ish mistake, but it can be so easily done when you have three cars battling for the same piece of tarmac.
Another thing is, I'm kind of surprised that Fruitful is staying out, because you've got Harrison now who's going to run Fruitful down. You can only assume he will. I mean, he's only 4.5 seconds back, and Fruitful's tires are only going to get worse. So you got to assume that Harrison's going to take Fruitful's position. Thomas is still yet to pit on the hards. I mean, we're looking at a Mercedes second and third place finish at this point.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Harrison pitted the lap he did. Essentially, okay, he's got fresh mediums. I suppose if you're going to go for the medium strategy, you would want to pit around now. But I'm surprised he didn't try and go for the soft. But I suppose at least he's covered himself. He's 2.3 ahead of Javi. So he's up into 5th place now, and 4th, or 3rd Harrison, for Harrison 3rd is on the cards right now. He's 3.8 behind Fruitful, who has harder tyres and wing damage. So yeah, and Thomas has to pit. So yeah, Harrison's on course for a great. Oh, and Big Slater's out. So
he was just on the fresh mediums, and I bet that had to be Blank's curb.
Yeah, in between sectors 2 and 3.
So cuts us down to 11, and Raikkonen on the mediums, 10 seconds back from Alp.
Yeah, it's blank curve. Yellows. Yeah, he's lost the rear end and hit the inside wall. To be fair to Fruitful, his pace isn't too bad on with that wing damage. It's a shame. But Harrison is catching him by around a second a lap. So, as expected. So Harrison should have... Oh, Harrison loses the back end on the final turn there. Just about. That would have made his heartbeat go up a notch. He just avoided hitting the barriers on the inside there. But, didn't lose too much time. But that was a very close moment there for Harrison.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Thomas hasn't pit yet. I think we'll see him, and he might try to even stretch it out to go on the softs at the very end.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
That's gotta be his plan. And honestly, he hasn't lost all that much time to Al in the last, maybe a second a lap, maybe a little bit less. But you know, with his teammate not, somewhat struggling, and Harrison slowly catching Fruitful, but it's also made some mistakes. It could pay off for Thomas. I mean, he's not getting pressured at the moment, so also got to think Javi starting to hold up Carlsberry and Simply. Javi's going to have to pit once more doing the 2-stop, which is really, I mean, he'll be battling for scraps at that point.
So just having a look on here. So yeah, Harrison now, the gap's gone down to 2.4 seconds. So that is and the other battle is Carlsbury. Carlsbury's now 2/10 behind Javi. He's going to have a good line up here. The two side by side.
Backed out really early, but then is going to get a great run into the second DRS straight.
Yeah, this should be. He's got the DRS, but Javi defends early so he doesn't get the slipstream. It comes across a little bit, but runs a bit deep. It's so easy to do a switch back here, which Carlsbury's going to do. But Renault will try and fling it around the outside. Carlsbury just has to try and squeeze him, which he doesn't. And they're still side by side.
They ghosted a little bit, at least from Simply's perspective, and glad they did, or else that could have been complete mayhem.
Good move, Carlsbury then up into P6, and again a little bit of ghosting goes on. And I think Javi, is he going to let... No, he's not going to let Simply rush. Oh yeah, he is. He's letting Simply rush through. So Javi on the 2-stop strategy, those mediums have already dropped off because their 12-lap old mediums are slower than the 6-lap old hards. So Javi hasn't had he's had a horrible middle stint. He should be well ahead of these guys, but just isn't. So yeah, Mitch, he'll have to pit again. So
here comes Thomas.
Yep, so he's going for the softs then if he's pitting on this lap. And I see some red boots, and that's not the mechanics I'm talking about. That is the soft tyres.
It's going to be intriguing to see how much ground he can make up, though, and that'll just be down to outright pace, what Thomas can do at his best around Bahrain. He's going to have quite a few spots to make up on his own, as should come out in between. Yeah, we'll come out between Alp and Raikkonen.
Yeah, I mean the first 6 laps are going to be awesome. and the last 3-4 of this race won't feel terrible because this track's weird. You don't really lose too much time. The softs drop off will be about a second and a half by the end of the race. But it doesn't. It's not until right towards the last couple of laps that you'll experience that on the softs now.
Simply's gotten by Carlsberry right now and trying to pull away from him. Carlsberry with DRS will stay put behind Simply at the moment, but is nose to tail basically at the end of the second sector.
Yeah, the two, and Harrison's now in DRS zone with Fruitful not quite close enough probably to make a move down this straight, but it could line him up for the second DRS zone. But also pay attention to Carlsberry and Simply.
Yeah, Javi's coming in. I think he probably went in a lap too late.
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, you're not going to have that much time to really push. You know, they only last 8 laps or so.
And Javi's going to go on to the softs. So Simply's another one.
He's going to be P11, yeah.
Simply's done a really good job. Started outside the top 10, chose to go for fresh medium tyres. And yeah, it's made that strategy really work really well. He's got the pace.
He had the connection issues as well in qualifying, so he didn't get those extra laps. So he probably had to qualify or really make a risky qualifying effort to try and get to the top 10 just because he was in and out of the lobby for the first 15 minutes or so.
And that's the worst preparation for you.
Fruitful's run really wide, picked up a penalty. I believe Harrison has one as well, not 100% sure. But Harrison's right on the back of Fruitful.
Yeah. So here we go. With DRS. Fruitful does go to defend. Oh, and the Mercedes turns in a bit on him, but he'll have that line, and Harrison gets the DRS as well to put salt into the wound of the Ferrari of Fruitful. So Harrison now up into P3, a great drive from him, starting at the back of the towards the back of the field. Had a great start, showed great pace on the hards, and now enjoying the fruits of his labour with those mediums. Obviously, if Raikkonen and Fruitful didn't have that coming together, he wouldn't have been able to be in this opportunity for P3. It would have been P5 really for him. But you gotta be in it to win it, and in this case, in it to get third place. So good job by Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be difficult. You know, you think driver of the day. Harrison's done a tremendous job. You've also had Nolan, who, I mean, has led from pretty much from start to finish. So, you know, I think that's kind of a difficult decision. Chat, what do you think? Harrison or Nolan driver of the day? Those are your two options.
Yeah, we're already giving you two options. There's no freedom in this tier.
Unless Thomas can get 4 more spots, and then we'll consider it. But
yeah, that's true. He's got passed out, but he is 4.3 behind Mitch, and I think by the time he gets to him, those softs are going to be all but done and very level with the hards. So I can't see Thomas gaining much more. But Mitch had a bit of a quiet one. He's in P7. He just doesn't quite have the pace of the guys ahead, but he did lose a bit of time, obviously, when he was behind. Who was it? The soft runner, wasn't it? It was Alp, wasn't it? He was behind Alp for an extra lap too long, and I think it cost him a bit in the end. But yeah, he's now 9 seconds behind Carlsberry.
Alright, so we've got 2 spells saying Fruitful driver of the day with that pace, with that damage. I don't know. He has had brilliant pace, I will say. He's been able to keep up and is still within DRS of Harrison. So that is worth noting. It's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of his own fault he got the wing damage on 2 spell. That's kind of like voting Verstappen driver the day no matter where he finishes.
Yeah, yeah, it's because both. Yeah, those. I mean, Fruitful would say in a day it was Raikkonen coming from behind who took him out because Fruitful was busy battling with Al. Um, I think if it was going to be between the two, I think it was more of Raikkonen's fault. Ultimately, he was. Oh, and here comes Fruitful having a little look down the inside there of Harrison. He's still now those mediums are not as good as they once were. Fruitful, if he's to be fair, if Fruitful can hold on to P3, we got to consider him. And here he goes round the outside of Harrison. If he can keep P3, he's battling someone who's on medium tyres with a front wing damage. Yeah, we got to consider him actually. But yeah, he just doesn't quite have that front end grip. Certain corners, like the left hand corners, he really struggles with. I think that's what's helped him, because most of the track is obviously right hand corners. The wing damage he's got is on the right hand side, so that tends to only really affect you more on those left hand corners because of the load that you need. So blank curve shouldn't be as much of an issue as the left-hand corners would be, but yeah, he's sort of struggled this lap. Harrison's been able to pull away a little bit now.
Harrison, I don't know if it's just my perspective or I feel like whenever I see him going into the final turn, he locks up. So I think that's one of the reasons why Fruitful is just being able to brake a little bit better, get better exits. Just stay with Harrison at the moment. And at least pressure him, if Harrison adds on another penalty, Fruitful will still take P3, so.
Absolutely. And elsewhere, Simply and Carlsbury are still battling it out for P5 with just 5 to go. Well, 4 and a bit now. 4.5 laps to go. Nolan is 13.7 seconds clear of Al. Masterclass
he's really
by him.
doing a proper Lewis Hamilton today.
Yeah. Yeah, that is proper Lewis Hamilton. Dominating and no one giving him any credit for it. That is proper Lewis Hamilton.
Well, I think a lot of people in chat are giving him a lot of credit and a lot of votes for driver of the day. I'm pretty sure it's something like 5-1 right now, just looking at the way chat spends. So,
I mean, it just shows you the quality he's got. It's another level. 14 seconds now. I mean, Al's probably not giving it the full beans now that he's got a comfortable gap. He's not going to catch Nolan. But yeah, Nolan is very impressive with that pace.
Yeah, and it's one of those things for Al, who's dominated Tier 1 for so long now, that, we've had Fruitful beat Al on race pace before. I'm sure we've had Raikkonen at times be better than Al at certain tracks, but for the most part, as long as Al's been in Tier 1, he's had the best race pace. And now we get somebody like Nolan who just, quite honestly, blows Al. Same strategy, pitted same lap, just kind of blows Al long-term out of the water. So I think it'll be interesting to see how Al reacts to this. It's one of those things where everybody's always the biggest fish in a small pond until you find another big fish. And I think Nolan right now is that big fish to Al.
Yeah, well put. Al also will be, when his wrist is recovered, wonder how much that does affect him with a wheel. Probably not massively, but consistency, I can imagine during a race, it can make things harder. Ever so slightly, little bits here and there. I'm not saying the 14 seconds today is because of that, but there must be a bit of a disadvantage having that injury. So when he's fully fit, it'll be interesting to see. And different circuits. Today, Nolan is just on a different league, as we've now got 3 to go.
Meanwhile, things are starting to heat up. P7, Mitch and Thomas. Thomas within a second, as well as Carlsberry is still just kind of, you know, staying there against Simply. You know, just not making any moves, but is only 3/10 behind.
Mitch very early.
Carlsberry about lost it actually. Exit of turn 1.
Yeah, and Mitch.
Fruitful still only 6/10 off of Harrison.
Yeah. Fruitful's doing a really good job, but I just think he doesn't quite have the grip, and it's not close enough to really attack. But yeah, Thomas is doing well. Those softs are now well past their best, but still a little bit better than the hards on Mitch's car. With just 2 and a bit laps to go. Got a few interesting battles, but I think Carlsberry is lost out now to Simply. That mistake has got him outside of DRS zone. As we come up to now, the penultimate lap is now upon us. Yeah, Harrison's got no no ERS left. Fruitful has got.
Fruitful's right there, yeah.
So, I mean, Harrison's now going to have. Harrison's using all his ERS down the straights. But Fruitful, I would have thought now Fruitful will be on 0 and saving up as much as he can so that he can use it all for the final run.
Yeah, it's very easy. Right at the beginning of the second sector, you can save quite a lot of ERS. Head to the backstretch, which is what I see. You know, Fruitful really doing well. Harrison, it's kind of difficult to save when you hardly have any at all.
Yeah, he's
right now.
Running
right now, it looks like Al peeking back up top. Al might be trying for a fastest lap.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, he's got 100% left now. Or he's just trying to do a faster lap time than what Nolan's done. Which obviously is the fastest lap at the moment. So yeah, he would be... well, not fastest lap, sorry. Would be one of the fastest laps of the race. Thomas, we've got a couple of battles. So this is the first one. We are on the final lap now. Fruitful, he's 7/10 behind Harrison. We've then got Carlsberry catching back up to Simply Rush. And Thomas as well. So Harrison's got no ERS left and Fruitful's right there. But the mediums still have better traction. Oh, it's going to be a struggle. I think, he's just not quite close enough. Meanwhile, Carlsberry as well.
Harrison got a terrible, almost lost it through that turn. Almost to the Vettel.
And now Mitch and Thomas, this is the next battle. Mitch and Thomas. Oh, Mitch gets a little bit sideways, but he holds on. Now he defends for his life from Thomas. The important DRS zone, he holds on. Right, now. If we go back to Harrison and Harrison Fruitful is right on the gearbox. They both got the DRS, but Harrison's surely got none left. And Fruitful's having a look down the inside. He's going to look for it, but the Mercedes holds on. Just about.
Nolan's going to be across the line in 3, 2, 1.
And
there
Nolan takes the win. So Nolan wins.
Oh,
Al comes through.
Pushing Harrison through the penultimate corner.
Yeah, I don't think the Mercedes has got any ERS left, surely. But I think he's just done enough here. Al's got P2. He crosses the line now. And does get fast lap. Wow. So he does do it. Harrison's going to hold on track. Oh, Fruitful crashes. But just...
He got across.
Got across.
Just barely got across.
Literally just got across. Simply finishes in 5th. Carlsberry 6th. And Mitch does hold on. Just. I thought those softs were going to run out towards the end. And they have. Mitch holds on for P7. With Thomas in P8. Alp coming around 9th. Raikkonen... In fact, Raikkonen takes 9th off Alp. and Javi coming across the line, the last driver, and the only one to score no
Yeah,
points.
and the only one to do the two-stop committed from the very
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
So that's devastating for him, but Nolan with the outstanding performance and led from the very start, got the better start off the line from a driver on better tires, and just runs away from everybody.
Yeah, I think the top three drivers today, in terms of their performance, was Nolan, um, for obviously his uh, dominance of his pace, but Harrison with the brilliant drive from the back to finishing P3, and Fruitful for having wing damage for 3/4 of the race, almost, or 2/3 of the race, and still giving Harrison a right run for his money.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it, the top four guys all did tremendous, given their circumstances. I think Al
Yeah, of course,
did
Al's.
tremendous for defending Fruitful
Yeah.
for that long. He got a little bit of help, and then Simply as well from P14 to P5 kind of goes unnoticed. So he went up 9 spots, which is just one off of what Harrison did. Unfortunately, Thomas didn't really do much on the softs. He had too much ground to make up.
Yeah, I think in the end maybe the hard to medium strategy was better, just because those hards, by the time you pit, they are knackered. So, and then the softs don't gain dramatically compared to people on the medium, and it's a very short window. So, yeah. Right, so I will set invites for interviews. Yeah, yeah, that's yeah. Uh, so we got. And I'm just trying to get Harrison's. Hello. So, okay, that's all right. Right, I've sent him an invite, so he should be coming in shortly.
Alright, do you want to wait for Harrison or just go forward with Al first?
I'm trying to find him on invites, to be fair. As in, yeah. Right, I've got Harrison. Right, so we are all good.
Mets ta voix à être autorisée là, je sais pas. On va partir encore.
Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. Al, solid P2 performance. You're able to hold off Fruitful for quite a while. Fruitful got a little bit of damage. Him and Raikkonen had an incident, so you didn't have to fight. But tell us, I guess, your race. You there? Okay. Okay, I don't think we have Al apparently, or at least I can hear him. Alright. Let's just move on to Nolan. Raikkonen, you good at translating?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess, Nolan, your first race in Test of Speed, and you just utterly dominated. I guess, what did you expect in terms of competition, and how do you feel about the performance today?
Alors, il a dit bien joué, tu as dominé toute la course. Il a dit qu'est-ce que tu t'attendais en termes de compétition par rapport aux autres, quoi, si t'allais te battre. Enfin, qu'est-ce que tu attendais
Je pensais que ça allait être plus difficile que ça.
Ok.
Je pensais qu'il allait avoir plus de combats, mais non, tout s'est bien passé, puis le rythme était correct.
Ok. Yeah, he say he expected more competition. He say everything was in control, the pace was good, so he didn't to worry about anything, and yeah, he expect much fight.
You decided to go the medium to hard tires and only had one driver ahead of you on the soft tires. You got a better start off the line than him and didn't really look back. I guess, how much practice did you put in for Bahrain, if any, today?
Il a dit tu as démarré avec les médiums, tu as été le premier en médium. Tu as pris le lead dès le départ en faisant un bon départ. Il a dit combien de temps tu as mis pour t'entraîner quoi, à Bahreïn quoi?
Bah 2 jours, même pas. Enfin, j'ai fait 5 ou 6 sessions.
Ok. He said only 2 days of training. He made 5 or 6 practice.
Okay, very good. I guess just kind of a statement to end things, Nolan, but just congratulations on your win, and voted driver of the day as well for the domination, so congrats.
Ouais, il a dit du coup bien joué, tu seras certainement nominé pilote du jour pour la performance.
Thank you.
Alright, that's gonna do it here. Not able to get Al. At least I can't hear Al unless he's muted or something. And Harrison unable to join us, but we did get a few quotes from our winner, Nolan, taking his first win in his first race in Contest of Speed Tier 1. Of course, we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S., Friday morning, 2 a.m. British time for the Americas tier. And then we'll be back into action next week as the 4 tiers will be taking on Canada. We'll head to Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. We thank you for joining us here in Contest of Speed, and everybody have a great rest of your evening. We'll see you back here Thursday night / Friday morning.